Hello, everybody. Mark Schaffline with you, and this is Election Edge Thursday's edition. 6 o'clock on the East Coast, 3 o'clock here out west. And I would like to welcome a fellow Floridian who has joined us here in videos out west. Bo Loudon, welcome to Election Edge. And Cameron Moore, a returning veteran, welcome back to Election Edge. Gentlemen, happy to have you with us today on the West Coast. Welcome.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, our pleasure.
Hey, Bo, since you're the new guy to the show today, let me start with you. You're out here visiting with Cameron. You're going to be going to Arizona for a Trump rally. I know that you spent a lot of time, with President Trump and with his son. Why don't you give us your perspective on what are you seeing in the race right now, especially from young voters? It seems from all the polling that I've seen and the commentary, that a lot of younger voters are starting to shift towards Donald Trump. What are you seeing, and what about the people who are talking to you? What are they telling you?
I'm seeing a bunch of Americans who are very upset with the way things are right now, and I'm seeing two candidates who can't get their own feelings about this election, in correspondence. Because I see Tim Walz saying, we cannot tolerate 4 more years of this. And then I see Kamala Harris, who just did her episode on that little, I don't know, it's like a sex talk show, saying that she wouldn't have done anything different than Biden, and that America's in a great place right now, and we can totally take 4 more years of this. So, it's very interesting to see these patterns and to see, a generation, my generation, so upset with the way things are, and their lack of care for the people and these big things happening right now, like the hurricanes and things. It's very upsetting.
Our state was hit very hard yesterday. Fortunately, we have Governor Ron DeSantis at the helm, and DeSantis has proven time and time again, that he's prepared. He's got a team of people around him, and we have 3 million of our fellow Floridians who do not have power. We had, I think, 8 deaths in the state. And the damage was extensive. I mean, the storm hit Siesta Key. We saw all the wind and rain that hit Tampa, but there was a strong storm surge south of Siesta Key. Our corporate headquarters in Venice, where General Flynn, Vic, Raj, and the team are, they got hit pretty hard. Naples, Fort Myers, and then there were even tornadoes that were spawned over in St. Lucie County, just north of Palm Beach, where you live. So the entire state was hit pretty hard, but I get the impression we're going to have a completely different response in the state of Florida than we did in North Carolina. Cameron, you've had you sent us some video about North Carolina. What are you hearing out there? It seems to me like the response is just woefully inadequate.
Yes, the response has been absolutely horrible, and there's a lot of questions, a lot of mysteries going on over there in North Carolina. What's under the ground there? There seems to be some mineral deposits that are coming to light. And the company that controls it is owned by Vanguard and BlackRock. Not to go out into conspiracy theorist land, but the response out there has been horrible. Kamala's completely ignored it. Trump's been out there. Elon's out there putting up Starlinks. So, the good guys are doing the right things and showing you who they are. And then the Biden-Harris administration have just ignored it. I mean, you barely even see Biden anymore. I mean, where's Biden? I saw he made some comments the other day, but they were just attacking President Trump. I mean, these people need to focus on the tragedy that's happening there and not make this thing political.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point because, President Biden has been speaking with Governor DeSantis, and they appear to be working very well together. DeSantis even came out and said, look, I've been through hurricanes before under President Trump. I've been through them under President Biden. We tend to work pretty well in these situations. And that's when Kamala Harris tried to insert herself into the, quote, hurricane story, and it really backfired on her very badly. North Carolina is a different story. Well, what are you hearing? You're traveling around the country. You're talking to young voters. I mean, people are seeing this devastation that happened in North Carolina. They're seeing the fact that, Asheville, which is a very progressive city, is going to vote 85, 90% Democrat. They're starting to get some help there, but those rural areas and surrounding counties around Asheville that were just absolutely devastated, Bo, I'm not seeing the assistance there that the administration is claiming. And again, trying to be nonpartisan on a hurricane issue, boy, the Biden administration is making it be very difficult.
Yeah, I think their lack of commitment to this just shows how much they truly care about the American people. And we're seeing things now like them not extending the date to vote in Florida, and $750 to the victims affected. It's unbelievable. And I think for young people, it's a massive videos all over like TikTok and Instagram talking about the hurricane, showing how big of a deal it is. And then you get people asking, what is our president doing? What is our people currently in office doing about it? And we see nothing. It's very sad. It's very upsetting. Because even whether you support that side or not, it'd be nice to know that people are getting the help that they need. But unfortunately, it's up to guys like me with a social media platform, or people like President Trump who have a heart, who isn't even president yet, but he's acting like one. Even before the hurricane, he's meeting with Zelensky, talking about the war. He's trying to figure out ways to end that, and now he's helping with the hurricane. He's being more president than people in office, and he hasn't even been elected yet. So, yeah, it's very disappointing. I'm not a fan of Kamala Harris, obviously, but I would love to see her taking the proper actions as a vice president, at the very least, to make sure that American citizens are taken care of.
Yeah, that's a great point, Bo. And Mr. Producer, I think you've got a sound clip if we could play it. We had a resident in North Carolina that actually applied for the 750, had completely lost their home. And let's just listen to the sound clip and hear what happened.
Literally, what is FEMA? So my daughter, whose house got completely wiped out, she has no flood insurance, meets with a FEMA person, applies for everything. She doesn't get the 750 that Kamala says that she's supposed to get, gets approved for $300 for personal items. What is that going to do? That's literally what she got. Her entire first floor is wiped out. We hauled everything off. It's gone. So what is FEMA? And being a mayor,
so they didn't even give her the full 750.
Didn't even give her 750. Denied the 750.
They gave her 300.
They gave her $300. That won't even cover what's in the refrigerator.
Unbelievable. And Cameron, I'm hearing stories. When Kamala gets on and says, and Biden, they start talking about the fact that Trump is stirring up rumors about money being diverted here and there. The fact of the matter is, money was diverted to different sources. And now, look, okay, if that happened, that's fine. We just want to see the aid get to the people in North Carolina. And, we're 7-8 days out from that event, longer than that, actually. And some people are still searching for the help. So, Cameron, you've seen the commentary. President Trump, he actually was on the scene. It looks like we've got a real leader in the president, and he's had experience doing this before. Cameron, I think that leadership is starting to come out.
100% is. And I'm going to take notes from Bo here. He put on his MAGA hat. I'm going to put on mine. This is going to stay on until the end, until we win this election. Every single day, and I'm calling out everyone to put on their Trump hats, their MAGA hats, to show that put their support behind the president. But getting to your point, Mark, they challenge everything that President Trump says, which is the truth. They call it misinformation. Misinformation this, disinformation that. Where have we heard this before? I mean, before it was conspiracy theories, and now that's gone, because the difference between conspiracy theory and the truth now is between 6 and 12 months. And then it was trust the science. And then it was COVID came from a lab. And then it was masks work. I mean, the American people have woken up right now. The American people have woken up, and they've seen President Trump being active out there. And Kamala doesn't even know which way is up and which way is down. She was asked yesterday, I believe, on The View, which is, the world's most hated show, which is turning into Saturday Night Live, if she would do anything different than that she would the past 4 years. And she said no. So you're actually seeing exactly what you're going to get in this next administration. You're seeing completely ignoring the American people, and you're seeing exactly what you're going to get from Trump. Trump cares about we the people. He's out there. He's showing us who he is. So Kamala is committed to not to repeat to the past 4 years on that clip from The View yesterday. It's horrible.
Well, speaking of clip, and that's a great lead-in, Cameron, Mr. Producer, I believe we have a clip of Donald Trump speaking to residents of Florida after the devastation that we've seen all across. Do we have that clip, Mr. Producer? No. Okay. So that clip is okay. So basically, I'll give you the gist of it. President Trump delivered a message to the people of Florida, of which he's a citizen in Palm Beach, as is Bo, and he basically expressed the fact that the government will be there to help. And with Ron DeSantis again at the helm, DeSantis had like 500 trucks ready for people to restore power. I mean, we have 3 million people without power, and some of you saw all the fits taking place. Let me explain the difference to you here. When the water was coming across south of Siesta Key, that's salt water. When that gets in, absolute disaster. On the north side, it was a different story. It was fresh water coming in. Now, you never want flooding, period, but given the choice of freshwater flooding or saltwater flooding, you do not want the saltwater. That is a devastating thing. So I have every confidence, based upon the past history, that Governor DeSantis will handle this properly. And I will tell you this too, and this is a commentary now, after the debacle that happened in North Carolina, there is zero chance that Harris and Biden and FEMA are going to screw up Florida. And I don't say that because Florida should have any preference over North Carolina, but the massive population difference, if people perceive competency this close to an election, it is going to have an effect. So while I've heard some commentary that the governor of North Carolina, who's a Democrat, may want to be slow walking some of the aid, I'm not really going to buy that. And I'm not going to go down that path, because I believe most people are good-hearted, even political leaders of opposing parties. And I'm optimistic that the people in North Carolina who need these services restored, can get them restored. And same thing goes for being able to vote. There's people in North Carolina that don't even have post offices anymore. And so we've had issues in Florida, but I'm optimistic that those issues will be resolved. Okay, we're at our first break, so we're going to take a 90-second break. But when we come back, we're going to take advantage of having Bo and Cameron here. We're going to talk about where this election stands right now, and we're going to get into some of the issues. Trump clearly has momentum. It is obvious. The Harris campaign sees it. We're going to dive into all that. We'll be back in 90 seconds.
My name is General Mike Flynn, and I want everyone to know that I stand fully behind Beverly Hills Precious Metals and its owner, Andrew Sorcini. We are facing one of the greatest periods of financial uncertainty in both American and world history, and so now is the time to organize your finances. With the advent of the BRICS pay system, we need to now seriously consider how we can take better care of ourselves and our families and start some serious decision making when it comes to our wealth. You can also ask about their newest 2-ounce coin of yours truly. It's an absolutely great gift, and I am deeply honored to be part of history, as well as helping people protect their finances, their wealth, and their investments. So visit gold.generalflynn.com. Tell them the General sent you. Thank you so very much. God bless you, and God bless America.
Hi, fellow patriots. How are you today? No, really, how are you? If you're looking for a way to energize, depuff, revitalize your skin, and maybe soothe some sore muscles, look no further than the Patriot TV store and the new Skin Renew Spa IO system. This is not your basic body massaging system. Nuh-uh. This has adaptive microcurrent technology that goes through these wonderful nodes on the bottom to really get in there. When you use it, you feel it just gently tickling in there and massaging everything. It's marvelous. And not only do you get the device, you also get a free tube of the special conductive gel to go with it. So there you are. You can depuff, you can revitalize, energize, and not only that, contour, firm, and tone. And we all want that. So go to the Patriot TV store now and get yours today from Nu Skin, the Renew Spa IO system.
And we're back. And I tell you, I want to give out a plug for that Nu Skin product. I tell you, at times when I had like neck pain, shoulder pain, or back pain, use that little device, put the gel on, massaged it for about 10, 15 minutes, 2 times a day. Everything went away. No back pain, no neck pain. So take advantage of that, folks. All right, look, I'm back with Cameron. I'm back with Bo. Hey, Bo, listen, you're going to be heading out to Coachella. Big Trump rally coming up on Saturday. Why don't you share a little bit about with our viewers and listeners what to expect? I mean, Trump is literally he's going outside, quote, the comfort zone of what I would call, his red states. People are going to vote for him. Coachella, this is a California event, and yet Trump is diving head into it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I think Gavin Newsom can see, all the people from his state going to flood a Trump rally. It's going to be awesome, and I definitely encourage the viewers to keep an eye out for some big names that will be in attendance. But it's going to be a great rally. I'm excited for it, and I can't wait. Trump, he owns the state, and he knows that, and he knows that if we had a truly free and fair election, he might be able to take California. So. And I see nothing but endless support. We've been driving around here the past few days in Huntington Beach, and I just see, Trump signs, Trump flags all over, and even California is Trump country because people are fed up of having their rights taken away, their freedoms, all of it just being suppressed, especially in California where it's probably the worst.
I've had the opportunity to spend some time obviously when General Flynn was out here, and Cameron set up some great events while we were here. And General Flynn basically echoed, Bo, what you're stating, that, Republicans are making an effort in California. I mean, we're not giving up in blue states. And Bo, what about the fact that Donald Trump is booking, he has booked Madison Square Garden in New York City towards later in the campaign? I mean, when I saw that, I'm like, well, why is he going into New York? And then I'm like, listen, I've seen people in New York, in New Jersey. I mean, Bo, if this thing breaks the way sometimes they do, a lot of Trump support, even in those deep blue states.
Yeah, Madison Square Garden again. That's kind of a big name move. I think that's Trump also showing. Kamala Harris wanted to have a rally in Madison Square Garden. She couldn't. One, she couldn't fill the arena, and number two, they wouldn't let her. She's not the president of the people. Trump is the people's president, truly, through and through. He's shown that, like with his actions now of taking care of the American people while he's not even in office yet. So I think Madison Square Garden is another example. That's going to be awesome. That's going to be massive. Every seat will be filled. There will be some big names in attendance as well. And it's going to be great to see. I can't wait to see all this unfold. Like they say, it might truly be too big to rig in this coming election.
Yeah, that's a great point. Now, Bo, tell me real quick, and then Cameron, I'm gonna go over to you. What type of role are you going to be playing at the Coachella event, Bo? Because I know you're very close to the Trump campaign. Share some insight with our viewers as to what your role is.
My role is a special guest. I'll be there in a special guest attendance, and I'll just be, talking to people and being on site and recording and making some content for Twitter, hopefully. And then as well, I'm going to try and get some of my cool friends that live in the California area out there and supporting President with their platforms as well. Maybe get a few of them on stage. Who knows? We'll have to see how it goes.
Well, I can't tell you, we're very, very happy you made some time to come by here with Election Edge, and very happy you're going to be out there at Coachella. Oh, by the way, folks, Patriot.tv will have a crew out at Coachella, so we'll be bringing some very special footage to you. Hey, Cameron, let me turn to you. Boy, talk about returning to the scene of the crime. How about that rally Trump had last weekend in Butler? I mean, 60, 70,000 people. You could feel the momentum, the pride, the energy. I mean, I got to tell you something. As an American, forget whether you're Democrat or Republican, you had to love the fact that, our former president and hopefully future president returned triumphantly to Butler, and now he's everywhere. He's back in Pennsylvania doing rallies. He's in Michigan. Cameron, you're actually going to see him over in Arizona at the big rally coming up. Talk about that and your feelings from Butler, and what your expectation is coming, with the California rally, and then with Mark Finch in the Arizona rally.
Well, just you mentioning that Butler rally kind of gives me goosebumps. It was such a special event with the opera singer returning to the scene of the crime, and what you're seeing now is what we saw in 2020. Trump's just going to keep ramping up. It seems like there's almost a rally like nearly every day now. I mean, he's going to Colorado, straight to Coachella, to Arizona. I mean, he's just getting started. He's just getting started, and he's going to show the American people who he is. Well, Kamala is still going to be hiding from any kind of press conference or interview or questions. I'll be at the Prescott rally. I'll be supporting candidate Mark Fincham as his guest. It's going to be an amazing experience. It always is going to see President Trump. And I encourage any and all Americans, if you haven't been to a MAGA rally, this is your chance. We're running out of time, but he's going to start ramping these up quick, and that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, and he's been a guest here, Cameron, with us on Election Edge a couple times. A terrific guest, and we're really pulling for Mark, and I'm really happy he's going to be participating, in the Trump rally in Arizona, and he's not the only one. Listen, we've got Kari Lake in Arizona. She's very tight in that race with Ruben Gallegos. I spoke with Floyd Brown yesterday. Floyd is her campaign manager. That polling is very tight in Arizona. And, as you mentioned, we really need to get our voters out, get the ground game going, vote early, which is something we want Republicans to do. In speaking with Floyd, he indicated that he thought if President could win Arizona somewhere in the 3 to 4% range, that could carry, no pun intended, carry Lake over the finish line. So, we really want to encourage everyone who's watching and listening to Election Edge, make sure you bring people to the polls. We've got Bo here who's doing it with his friends and the influence he has with younger voters. Cameron's got a great operation of helping people get out, and we encourage you to do so because, folks, the momentum really is swinging towards Donald Trump. And I want to give you some economic news broke today, and I want to tell you a little bit about that. And this is sort of encapsulates what's really going on. Okay, so Wall Street came out today, and they talked about the CPI, Consumer Price Index, came out at 2.5%. Everybody's cheering, great. But then the other news came out when you exclude food and energy. Who can exclude food and energy? I've never understood that. It was closer to 3.5%. So the problem with it is inflation has come down, but as numerous people were saying today, yes, it's come down, but prices are not coming down. And when people's wages have to keep up with inflation, when you're seeing core CPI up, regular CPI up, it's not prices going down. And then to add a little bit of injury to that, and this is where the Harris-Biden camp, this is not a good mark for them. Highest number of unemployment claims in over a year. We had like 258,000. Now, part of that was Hurricane Helene, and part of it may have been Boeing. But again, when you see economic numbers come out like this close to an election, it sort of defeats the narrative that everything is good and hunky-dory with the economy. Well, the people you talk to, again, you talk to a lot of people, you're on social media. What are the younger voters telling you, specifically related to all the inflation we've had to deal with, $35 trillion in debt, and really an economy growing, but one that's difficult for people to keep up with their wages? What are you hearing from the younger folks?
I think mostly the younger people, they just want to know that they're going to be able to afford college. They want to know that they'll be able to buy their first home. They want to know that they'll be able to afford gas. These are basic things. These are basic American rights that we've had for years and years. And most of my generation has just hoped that they could be like their parents and have a shot at the American dream. It's what our founding fathers fought for. It's what our parents fought for. It's what our past presidents have fought for. Why can't we simply be part of that? And why can't we just have easy access to the American dream? You know, and I think when we have a presidency like the Biden and Harris administration that just comes and rips that away from us, you know, it really gets our eyes open. And I think, you know, there's been a trend since 2016 of young men who are all on board for Trump because we're radical and we're ready to jump on the next thing and whatever. Women are a little more confined to something, so it's been hard to bring them around. But even now, they're all on board as well. You know, we had a great female role model, Amber Rose. She went and spoke at the RNC, and she has a large female young audience and stuff like that. So with these people coming and voicing their support for Trump, it's making the young voters realize, you know, there's not going to be another chance. You know, there might not be another chance after this election to have that chance of the American dream. So voting really matters.
I echo your sentiment there, and there's no reason that young people should not be able to be in a position where if they work hard, save their money, they can achieve the American dream. And yet, Cameron, the Harris-Biden campaign, they keep talking about, well, on day one, we're going to do this related to the economy. And, you know, we're going to fix this. And I keep saying day one. This is like day, 900 or what, day 1,000. She's been in office 3.5 years, and she presided, her and Biden, over 21% inflation. Cameron, something's not adding up here. The blue-collar America is rapidly shifting to President Trump, and that's a complete sea change over the last 20 years.
I mean, you mentioned these numbers from Wall Street. You know, they can tell us anything they want to tell us. They can try to control the narrative. They can continue to lie to us. American people have woken up, and you see this interview with Hillary the other day, where she's completely lost control of the narrative. Democrat Party has, Kamala has. So then they threatened to put you in jail if you post something, because they're asking for censorship because they don't want the truth to come out. Why don't you want the truth to come out? Why don't we have our First Amendment rights to be able to speak about this pain that we're feeling right now? They can't hide it anymore. They can't hide it anymore. And thank goodness for Elon and X, because that's helping get the truth out.
Oh, no question about it. And you mentioned Elon Musk and X. I mean, how good did he do at that Butler, Pennsylvania rally, Cameron? I mean, he's up there. I mean, he doesn't need to be doing this. He's the richest man in the world. He could be focused on his business, but no, he is focusing on trying to help people. And gosh, you've got to give the man credit for that. And here like a lot of us have, he's trying to support President Trump. And what happens? Boy, the liberals and the radicals, they throw arrows at the man. They try to get regulations thrown at him. I'm going to tell you something, folks. Welcome to the world of being a conservative. And that's going to change in about 24 days when Donald Trump is elected president. Okay, we're going to take a mid-course break here, but when we get back, we are going to get into why this momentum is happening for Trump. We're going to give you some updated polls. You're going to like these numbers. And the Harris campaign, folks, get a load of this. They've raised $1 billion, and they are still nervous that's not enough money to defeat Trump. All right, back in 90 seconds.
Hey folks, it's your buddy John Rich here and co-founder of Old Glory Bank. Let me ask you a question. Why would you trust your banking with people that hate you? Well, you shouldn't. We're building a freedom economy, and now we have a pro-America bank. It's called Old Glory Bank. Check it out at oldglorybank.com and open yourself an account today.
Old Glory Bank is a full-service, FDIC-insured online bank with business and consumer banking and customers in all 50 states. It takes just 8 minutes to open an account at oldglorybank.com.
I couldn't give anything a higher endorsement.
I would be remiss had I not include Cardio Miracle on my very short list of secrets.
It's the real deal. It's a real product. It's not another supplement.
I'm operating about 6 to 8 hours, and I've noticed that being on this Cardio Miracle has made a huge difference.
Since I started taking Cardio Miracle about 8 months into it, the benefits have been fantastic.
If I get hungry, then I just have a Cardio Miracle.
Not only is it safe,
but it's necessary to take Cardio Miracle to stay well.
This let me sleep and feeling with more energy, more get up and go, and it's all because of what this company does.
For me as a doctor, Cardio Miracle is a staple.
Cardio Miracle to me is hope in a glass.
To try Cardio Miracle for yourself and get a special fan discount, go to the host page right now and click the link for Cardio Miracle.
And we're back, folks. All right, we promised you some polling numbers, and so we had some really, really good numbers come out. Let me give you those numbers here. And pardon me for looking down at my notes, but we'll make sure I got them right here. Look, Real Clear Politics still has Harris +2, but in the key battleground states, Donald Trump aggregately is up 0.3 of a point. And most importantly, in the Hill Marist, that's a pretty good polling outfit. The Hill runs the website, Marist polling group. They have Donald Trump leading in 5 of the 7 swing states. 5 of 7, folks. They had Pennsylvania tied, and they had Harris up in Nevada only. Well, that's a public poll. Rasmussen came out. They have Trump +2 in Pennsylvania. It's an advantage. They had Trump leading by 2 nationally. They had Trump up slightly in Georgia. The point being is, on the backs of that Quinnipiac poll that came out yesterday, all of the polling is moving in Donald Trump's direction. Now, bear in mind, these are still very tight according to the public polling. Private polling is telling a different story. Mark Halpern, formerly with MSNBC, now I believe he's at Newsmax right now, he has seen the internal polling numbers of the Harris campaign, and those numbers were not looking very attractive. Folks, it's no wonder they've raised, literally, as I said before the break, $1 billion. Think about that for a minute. They've raised $1 billion since she's become the nominee, and yet there's panic setting in the Democratic Party as Donald Trump has taken the lead in these swing states. Oh, let me go to you. You've seen some of these polling numbers. Trump, it fluctuates back and forth, but right now, it's a clear trend in President Trump's direction. And I can't think, but people are finally starting to see whether they've seen her talk. They've seen the 60 Minutes fiasco. They see her go on Oprah, The View, Stern, Late Night, and she is not answering basic questions. I mean, Bo, when she can't, it started with, are you better off now than when you were 4 years ago? She couldn't answer that. She still can't answer questions. And Bo, I'm starting to get the feeling that between what people are seeing their own eyes, the lack of response in North Carolina, her inability to answer basic questions, her constant dodging of questions, I think it's finally starting to catch up to her. What are you sensing? What are you seeing? Are you feeling the same thing that these pollsters are telling us right now?
Well, one of the most free and fair and honest polls I've seen is the Polymarket poll, which originally had Trump pretty neck and neck with Kamala, and it's been fluctuating between that. But now we have Trump at 55% with Kamala at 44%. I mean, he's demolishing her now in that poll. And I never expected that because, we saw Hillary dominating Trump in the polls in 2016, and of course he destroyed her in that election. So it's kind of a trend, if he's losing a little bit, we know he'll win. If they're neck and neck, we know he'll really win. But if he's dominating her in the polls, on every measurable metric of a voting of how we track votes, I mean, people say that social media followings and views is not a proper way to track numbers and track votes and support, but I got to disagree. When I see Kamala Harris, she's had all this hype built up around what her first, semi-professional interview is going to be, and it was with that podcaster girl, and that did maybe 200,000 views. I mean, that's pathetic. I mean, and any real view that's gotten it was when what a conservative influencer had shared it to refute something she said that was complete bogus. And then we see Trump with his past 5 interviews or anything he's done, and these all top from 5 to 20 million views. And he dominates her on TikTok and following, Instagram, Twitter, all of them. There's not one platform that she beats him in a following on or views. And so it's quite embarrassing. She can try her best. She makes these cringy little TikToks that try and frame Trump as a convicted felon and whatever else the case may be. Her campaign, they're in shambles, and no amount of funding they have, no amount of poll numbers, even though they're down in those two, nothing really shows that they have any chance in this election. So I hope they have all their best forms of voter fraud ready, because they're gonna really need it in this election.
Oh, what's he up on? Doesn't Trump have like double the number of followers that she does on the various social media platforms?
Yeah, most of them. I could be wrong on this. I think Trump's at around like 12 to 13 million followers on TikTok, and she's at like maybe 5 or 7 or something. And then as well as on the other platforms, Instagram, Trump's at 20 to 30 million, and then she's at 10 to 15 or something. It's all of them. He's more than double, and it's just embarrassing for her. She has no numbers. I mean, I'm not to brag, but I get more views on Twitter than she does. So it's embarrassing. She's not a popular candidate. She never has been. And when you're a DEI candidate, especially, it's going to be expected. She's not a popular candidate. She has no real history of helping America. She's had all this. She's been fully in charge of the border. She's all the tools to help the country to implement these policies now, and she hasn't done anything. We've had America struggling on its hands and knees, getting pushed and kicked around for 4 years, and her own VP agreeing that it's really bad, and that we can't take 4 more years of this, and then her saying, well, I think Biden didn't do anything wrong. I wouldn't have done anything different. I think we're in a great position in America, and no real free-thinking American citizen thinks that.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a great point there, and Cameron, she's trying to sell herself as the agent of change, even though she's been the sitting vice president for almost 4 years now, 3 years, 8 months. Okay. And when she answered, as Bo brought up, when she answered that question the other day about what would you do different, and she basically said nothing. The Trump campaign was immediately cutting clips, cutting commercials. Using her own words. And that wasn't a word salad, Cameron. That was like, hey, I literally will be a second Joe Biden term. Cameron, I don't think that's what people are looking for.
Agent of change. Where have we heard that before? Hope and change. Obama. We know how bad we got underneath Obama. You mentioned she has $1 billion now of donations. If you really want to be an agent of change, take part of that $1 billion and donate it to Georgia, North Carolina. Take it to Florida. Help these people out instead of giving them $750 if they can even get on the internet. And if they can, maybe get $300 like the mayor's daughter. She wants to be an agent of change. Stop talking about it and get out there and do it. And take some of that billion and spread it out. Spread it out and show the people who you are. But, she won't, because we're all seeing exactly who she is.
Hey, Cameron, you and I have talked about this many times, and I've talked about how, again, public polling it's close, but the difference is now almost every poll is trending in Donald Trump's direction. And whether it's Insider Advantage, Ken Tower, I think, runs that, Robert Cahaley at Trafalgar Group, Rasmussen reports, even democratically leaning Quinnipiac, the Marist polling that came out that was leaning towards Donald Trump, 5 out of 7 states, New York Times, Siena even. Cameron, you have a belief, and again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but when we've talked privately, you think these polls are significantly underestimating the Trump vote. And again, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but you're thinking this election is a little more outside that margin of error than a lot of these polls indicate.
Yeah, I think these polls are out there simply to influence people and to think that this is a tight race, as Bo mentioned, so they can go ahead and set up the steal at the end. Oh, it's a tight race. We're 49, 51. This isn't a tight race. Doesn't mean we have to get complacent. We all have to get out there and get our votes in and make this thing too big to rig, which I believe we will be. I think Trump will win all 50 states at the end of the day. They can tell us whatever they want about the polls, but all you have to do is go look at the comments. Like Bo mentioned about Kamala's followers. Go out and TikTok. Look at all the comments on there. They're 90% pro-Trump. The comments on these posts are incredible. So if those 8 million followers or whatever Bo mentioned are even real to begin with. So, I think the American people are going to make their voice heard. That's for sure.
Well, I've heard, from a lot of people who are looking at the internal polling, both of the Harris campaign and even the Trump campaign. And again, a lot of people are saying we have to get turnout out, get our voters out. And so what's happening right now? The traditional ones on the left, what are they doing? They're calling out Bill Clinton and they're calling out their rock star Barack Obama. Now, they tried that in 2016. It wasn't so effective then. 2020, different story, COVID, but we're not in a COVID year right now. A lot of states have tightened up their election laws. A lot of states have purged voters that didn't belong on those rolls. So I've got to believe, given that all the manpower that Republicans have mustered and put together, Charlie Kirk's organization in Arizona, give them a shout out. They're doing a yeoman's job to make sure that every ballot is counted correctly. And again, Cameron, we're looking for a free and fair election. Too big to rig. A lot of people state that, but at the end of the day, everybody's saying, well, this could be a long election night. It could be a short election night, because if the indications from some of the pollsters who we trust, the Rasmussens, the Robert Cahaleys, the Ken Towers, Insider Advantage, and the internal polling from the Trump organization, and you're never going to hear it from the Harris group, but their polls are showing her heading south too. Donald Trump wins Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia, he will be the next president. He could lose North Carolina and still win Michigan, could win Wisconsin. Arizona's looking very good. The point is here, Donald Trump has numerous paths to the presidency, and that window is looking skinnier and skinnier for Kamala Harris. Think about that for a minute, folks. She's raised $1 billion and stop Trump. The lawfare couldn't stop Trump. They practiced that again over and over. The Russia. Oh, he gave Putin COVID kits. How long did that story last? A couple hours. The point being, they've literally, from assassination attempts, lawfare, Russia, $1 billion. It ain't working, folks, and it's not working because the American voters remember the following. When Trump was president, we had peace and we had prosperity. We didn't have 21% inflation, and we didn't have 12 to 15 million illegals across the border. All right, taking our final break, but when we come back, we're going to dive into a couple other niceties, some things that you may not be aware of, and we're going to hit a couple hot-button issues. Biden talked to Netanyahu yesterday, and we're going to get into some of that too. See you in 90 seconds.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
The Donor Deck represents a groundbreaking independent crowdfunding initiative driven by patriots like you to bring back our esteemed President Donald J. Trump to office. With unwavering passion, we pledge all profits from the sale to MAGA Inc. and Fight Like a Flynn PAC. The exquisitely detailed challenge coin is a timeless collectible to be passed down to generations. It symbolizes your continuous dedication to assisting President Trump in his quest to rejuvenate America to its former greatness. Get your Donor Deck now. Go to thepatriot.tv store and click on Donor Deck. Enjoy the magnificent artwork and scripture on each playing card, knowing our appreciation for your continuous dedication to assisting President Trump in his quest to rejuvenate America to its former greatness. You'll get this keepsake collectible challenge coin acknowledging your support for Donald Trump's run back to the White House, and the Donor Deck of 52 exquisite playing cards, plus a beautiful display case to show your challenge coin. Go to thepatriot.tv store and get your Donor Deck now.
And we're back, folks. What do I have in my right hand? The Donor Deck. When Donald Trump wins this election, and he will, the Donor Deck cards and the commemorative coin, these are going to be collector's items. So while Trump's still leading in the polls right now, election's still 20 some odd days away, pick up your Donor Deck. All you got to do is scroll down to Election Edge, click on it. It'll take you right there. Whether you pick up 10, 50, these are great stocking stuffers, great gifts for the office. Give them to your friends. Send them to the liberal friends. That way you can, tick them off a little bit. Okay. All right. We're back with Cameron and we're back with Bo. Oh, let me ask you this question. I've been seeing some indications that Latino voters, people under the age of 35, are moving toward Trump on the man side, now not only the woman side, and that African-American men under the age of 50 are really going towards Trump. Now, I'm not saying he's going to win the African-American vote, but usually in the last couple of elections, it's been around that 8, 9, 10%. But we're seeing indications that Donald Trump could be north of 20%, and that's being fueled by African-American men who are supporting Trump. People in Pennsylvania, for example, outside Philadelphia, big-time Trump supporters. And I heard someone use the word today, it's almost hip or cool that younger people now are supporting Trump, at least on the man side of the equation. What are you seeing and what are you hearing out there?
I think that's incredibly true. I think especially with, things like that interview that I was able to be a part of and help set up the Trump Aiden Ross interview, things like that, when he went on Theo Vaughn. These are comedians, these are famous celebrities and streamers and influencers to the young generations. And, these are the people we want to see have an interview with our president. And, they can sit down with him. They can show you what the media refuses to show you, that he's actually human. He's a human being with a great family and a great past and a great everything. And he's a genuinely good man. But then they'll talk about real policy, talk about what he's actually going to do, talk about what the actual side's not going to do, versus the other side who just wants to attack Trump, attack his family, put all this hateful rhetoric out there until finally two people try and put a bullet in him, and that's all they're good at doing. That's all they know how to do. So young people see this and we're infuriated. Kamala Harris, as bad as she is, I don't want to see her be stuck in an assassination attempt like Donald Trump was. That's not something I want to see. And young people, whether they're on either side, I'm sure that's not something they want to see either. But these people that are putting out this harmful rhetoric, attacking him, attacking his character, and doing nothing but that, not talking about policy, not going on proper shows or proper podcasts or doing news. Trump will do a perfect amount of both. But Kamala Harris, she's done her one. It was pathetic. She didn't name any policy. She didn't tell us what she's going to do. It's the same spewing lies that she always spews. It's pathetic, and I don't think the American people are falling for it either. And not even the young people. We get our most of our news, not me, but my generation. They get most of their news, now from like TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. And when all we see is two presidents, and one of them not being able to name anything she's actually going to do, and having a horrible track record, versus one president that's literally taken a bullet for our freedoms, it's waking young people up, and I think we're much more ready to vote for the proper president.
Oh, it seems like the young people are seeing through Kamala's BS. I mean, she's sitting there non-answers to questions, and I mean, it does seem like through those media outlets that you just described, people are seeing through it. And I'm really, really happy to hear that. Cameron, let me turn to you for a minute. I mean, even people like James Carville of our generation, is saying Democrats have got to get off this nonsense of trying to make the election about January 6th of 2021 and this threat to democracy. I mean, Trump's gone out there. Everybody knows he's no threat to democracy, except these hardcore radical liberals. The rest of the country knows that. But Cameron, I mean, it seems to me when Democrats stick on that message, and I said this the other day, even Charlemagne the God from the Breakfast Club. I know, Austin, you didn't think I knew who that was, but yes, I have followed it. So even someone like that, who is clearly in the Harris campaign, is saying she has got to address these issues that Americans care about. Cameron, when Donald Trump goes out and he's for America, talks to Americans, make America great again, and make America healthy again, and make America wealthy again, that message, America first, is resonating among people.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You mentioned January 6th, and then we talk about these felonies and this and that. That ship has sailed. No one wants to talk about January 6th anymore. I think January 6th will be flushed out, and that's what they fear the most, is the truth coming out. This is why they're trying to censor us, narrative. No one's thinking about January 6th. Those felonies are only making them stronger, along with those 2 assassination attempts. I mean, the clock is ticking. Their time is running out. They know it. We know it. Trump knows it. It's going to be an interesting few weeks. But you know what? It's a great time to be alive, and I'm grateful to God to be alive during this time.
Cameron, we talked just briefly on the illegal immigration piece. Word came out today. New York City, get a load of this, folks. $2.5 billion, just under $2.5 billion. New York City is seeking to reimburse the hotels housing all the illegal immigrants in the city. Think about that for a minute, folks. We're spending billions of dollars to house illegal immigrants in New York City, while we have people in North Carolina that have no food, no water, no phone service. They've lost their house. People are saying, well, they can. I heard someone from FEMA, well, they can go on, they can register online. How in the hell are they going to register when they don't have power? And it's just, you think about this stuff, and it just sort of blows your mind. Ron DeSantis is out, just, little birdie whispered in my ear, basically advising if anyone tries to loot in the state of Florida, they will get caught, and Florida will throw the book at them. DeSantis is not going to put up with any of this stuff in Florida while this is going on. So, let me ask you this question. I'm going to shift back around a little bit here. A lot of people say the number one issue is the economy. The number 2 issue is illegal immigration through most parts of the country. And then I get Democrats saying, oh, no. The most important issue out there, reproductive rights. Okay, I get it. There's a gender gap, and Harris is going to win more women votes than men. I get that. They pounded that issue till they're blue in the face. But Donald Trump is making up some ground there. We have a gender gap. Harris is getting more women. Trump's getting more men. But on this democracy issue, Bo, is anyone that you talk to bringing up January 6th, bringing up the democracy issue? I mean, I'm not hearing it. Is anyone coming? Are you hearing it? I mean, what are people saying?
I'm very pro-life. And when I talk about my pro-life stances, I seem to think and hear a lot of people spew the same pro-choice standpoint, which is let's focus on the children that are alive. I don't know why you try and defend unborn lives. I don't know why it's such a big issue to you. Let's focus on the kids that are alive. But then they don't back that up when they are attacking pro-lifers and saying that abortion is the biggest issue in this election. Because you know what? When there are 300 to 400,000 migrant children that are missing at the southern border, and that's not part of your top issues in this election, that really says something. You're the one not focusing on the children that are out of the womb. It's disgusting. And I think when I don't know how we ever got to a point in our country where abortion, being for it, is one of your top issues. It's so disgusting, and it's so barbaric. And even some pro-lifers are actually, because Trump's not being pro-life enough, quote unquote, they are retracting some of their support for him, and I do not stand with that at all. I think that is completely unfair. This is the president that was the most pro-life of any president we've ever had, attending the March for Life, overturning Roe v. Wade, and time and time again, we've seen that he cares for these pro-life issues. And if he gets back in office, that's our best shot at getting any pro-life issues we want done. Kamala Harris gets in office, you can say goodbye to all that. And I think it's really important we get him in office. We fix our border. We save those kids. We save the kids in the womb as well, and we save the American people who have been kicked around and abused. We don't need someone that freezes like a deer in headlights when she doesn't have her teleprompter. We need a strong American president who made peace, had no new wars under his presidency, was able to protect the kids, was able to raise $500 million for sex trafficking efforts, anti-sex trafficking efforts. I mean, that's who we need. We need a leader right now. We don't need someone who goes and cackles on the stage for 20 minutes.
Those are great points, Bo. I'm really happy to hear you say that. And Cameron, one other piece here. We didn't talk a little bit about it, but on foreign affairs, you've got to hand it to the Israelis. I mean, Biden's putting the arm on Netanyahu in a call yesterday. I know we've only got about a minute left, but you've been to Israel. You wore your MAGA hat over there. I think that Netanyahu is doing an exceptional job. Look what they've done, taking out the Hamas leadership, taking out Hezbollah. Again, you've been there, Cameron. What are your thoughts on how Netanyahu's handling the Israeli situation?
I think he's doing a great job. Israel is not going to be complacent. Israel's not going to roll over until we get those hostages back. And I'm happy they're tightening the clamp against Hezbollah and Hamas. And Israel has God on their side as the Holy Land. And Israel's going to prevail here. And hopefully this Hamas and Hezbollah are going to be wiped out sooner than later, because the Israel people deserve to get their country back.
Yes, they most certainly do. Well, I got to tell you one thing, Bo Loudon, it has been a very special treat having you here, visiting us on the West Coast. And when you're back in Palm Beach, we want to have you back on camera as always. If it's Thursday, it's Cameron Moore time. Thank you for all your support of President Trump, and best to both of you in Coachella and in the Arizona rally. We'll be back tomorrow on Friday, folks. Election Edge. See you tomorrow.